It seems like it's kind of like a hood movie mixed with like some kind of like sci-fi, and I really like that idea of it.
Slick, come on. That make your spine senses tingle.
You're right, there's something behind that elevator
If you could point me to the elevator that leads down to the freaky laboratory.
that we don't know about, and I'm like, I need to know what's going on. The one thing that drew me to this movie
You better talk.
is actually John Boyega.
Where the money at?
Glad he's not just like stuck in those Star Wars movies.
Is it a sci-fi film? Is it an alternate history? Is it a parallel universe?
I don't know what that was, but that wasn't me.
It's a universe where they figured out how to clone Tyrone. Yeah, like I don't know exactly what this world is. It looks interesting at the very least. This is one that it's also on my list that I was actually kind of surprised the first time I saw this, because the first trailer for They Cloned Tyrone is just the three main characters in an elevator.
An elevator, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
like,
and
what
it's
the heck is going on?
I don't know what it is about elevator scenes the last 10 years. And Captain America, and there's that whole scene where Sam Jackson's talking about his grandfather and keep stepping that whole thing. So the fact that the first trailer for They Cloned Tyrone is an elevator scene is sort of interesting, and you can totally tell it's probably right before the big final battle or whatever they're doing. But this is Jamie Foxx. This is
John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega, and Teyonah Parris is also in this. Tell me about They Cloned Tyrone.
This was a movie that when I did a little bit of research on it, I was so like surprised, because this is a movie I've never heard of. This is also going on Netflix, and I was like, when I watched the trailer, this would be a movie that I would absolutely go see in theaters. It seems like, and this is a movie that I'm still trying to, like, out of all the movies on this list, this is the one I'm still trying to like kind of figure out the most. It seems like it's kind of like a hood movie mixed with like some kind of like sci-fi. They're cloning them, like trying to figure out what's going on, and I really like that idea of it. The one thing that drew me to this movie is actually John Boyega. I love this guy. I think he's a wonderful actor, and it might be a hot take. I'm glad he's not just like stuck in those Star Wars movies. It's good to see him in this. Jamie Foxx is great. It looks like there's going to be a lot of twists and turns in this movie. It looks like it's just a really exciting film, because honestly, I'm still trying to like figure out like what really, like, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And so this is a movie, like, the trailer alone caught my attention, going like, I need to see what's going to happen. Because like, you're right, there's something behind that elevator that we don't know about, and I'm like, I need to know what's going on.
I agree. This is also on my list. The thing about this, though, is the universe that they're in. Like, you're right. I don't quite know what this universe is, because, like, just upon first glance, it looks like it's in the 70s, and it looks like it could be in a blaxploitation type film.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, exactly.
And then you go out into the larger world, and it looks more contemporary, with a lot of the cars that are being driven in some of the other parts of the trailer. And so I don't know what to make of this. Like, is it a sci-fi film? Is it an alternate history? Is it a parallel universe? I mean, obviously it's a universe where they figured out how to clone Tyrone.
Exactly.
but beyond that, like, I don't know exactly what this world is, but it looks interesting at the very least. The wardrobe on the characters, and the characters
very very hood. Like, it's very like kind of like, especially with John Boyega, like with the dreads and they got the grills. Like, it's very interesting what they're doing. But kind of what you were saying, like, I really am still trying to figure out this movie. But again, I talked about it recently, like with Get Out, when I remember watching those trailers, I had no idea what that movie was about. And then like once the movie kept going on and figuring out what it was about, I was so surprised with that movie. Again, it's one of my favorite movies ever. And so I'm hoping, like, obviously not at like the level of Get Out, but I'm hoping that there's like I'm trying to figure out from the trailer like what's really happening, and then like in the movie we're both gonna be like, oh, that's so cool. And so the trailer, it hooked me. It hooked me like with all the mysterious vibes of it. But yeah, the wardrobe is weird. John Boyega looks kind of scary. Looks kind of scary in this. So I'm like, I don't know. It looks just like the aesthetic of it, but it looks entertaining.
It just looks so well thought out. Like, I don't have the words to describe. Like, I'm not a clothes guy. Like, I'm a t-shirt and shorts kind of guy. So
me too.
I can't really describe clothing in any great detail that people go, oh yes, that clothing style. That's the neckline on that shirt. So I have no idea how to describe the clothing other than the wardrobe looks very legit and well thought out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like someone just went to wardrobe. They drove out all the clothes in 18-wheeler and had the wardrobe supervisor come in and say, hey, wear this jacket with this shirt to Jamie Foxx. Like, it looks like our lead characters, our lead actors, took time to pick out their wardrobe and figure out what their character's personality is and what their character would wear.
Yeah.
There's just something about that part of the process that jumps off the screen to me in the trailer. And I wish I had the better words to describe exactly what that process is or what the result is. Yeah. But if they put that kind of thought into the wardrobe, without even really any dialogue in the trailer, them breaking into song, just singing randomly, to give us a little moment of levity and character, when they haven't even bothered establishing what the character is, there's something about that I really like, and that makes me want to watch this film. I have they Cloned Tyrone at number 3, and I love Jamie Foxx going all the way back to In Living Color back in the day. John Boyega, I always forget. He does such a great American accent, but he's British. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's amazing, and I guess we shouldn't be surprised that British people are great at doing American accents.
Yeah.
Given how many American movies are just sort of everywhere around the world, especially in the English-speaking world. So I guess it probably shouldn't be surprising that John Boyega does a good American accent. But how many Americans can do a good British accent? And Americans almost to a person love British accents, and yet whenever we try a British accent, it sounds, it doesn't even sound as good as Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. Hey, Mary Poppins! Like we all sound like an American doing a British accent. And it never ends well. True. At best, it sounds like Madonna doing a British accent because, I live in London. Like, but you're still American.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still the American girl from Detroit.
For sure. I love that. Yeah. No, he does. He's great. Like, his accent, like, he is wonderful. And again, I'm as I mentioned, I'm happy that he's kind of breaking out of, like, I'm glad he's not just tethered to Star Wars. I'm glad to see him do, like, he did a movie called Detroit a couple of years ago, which was really good. He was in a new movie about, like, the VA, which was, my parents saw it, said it was really good. He's in that Pacific Rim movie. Like, it's cool to see him do other stuff, and I'm glad he's just not kind of stuck with the Star Wars movies.
It was interesting too. He did one called Naked Singularity, and I did not see that film. But Naked Singularity is one where he actually at one point, as his character, pulls up with a katana sword.
Oh, fantastic! Already on board.
And he's holding it. Yeah, so he's like a lawyer, and there's this whole thing, and it's. Anyway, so at one point in the trailer, he pulls up with a katana sword, and he's holding it like he would hold a lightsaber. And, great callback without actually being a callback. And love John Boyega, one of the good parts of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. I am curious to see what they're going to do when they clone him in They Cloned Tyrone.